Hey folks, Jeremy with Whitetail Dreams here. Hey, today we're out in Shawano County, Wisconsin. We're on our 156 acre property. We're gonna do something a little different today. We're gonna take you on a virtual video tour. This property is very large, it's super diverse. There's some wet ground, some high spots. We're gonna take you through that. The number one question that we got asked from the moment we list the property was, is this driveway into the property owned? Because the property starts back to the south. The answer is yes, this driveway is owned and you can park on the driveway. There's a nice parking area here, and then eventually just down the road, that'll take us right into where the cabin is located. So stay with us. We're gonna bring you on a fantastic tour of our 156 acres in Navarino. And if you have any questions, you can visit whitetaildreams.com or call us today to schedule an appointment. All right, a lot of you have asked about the inside of the cabin. It's a rustic cabin. It's just built on blocks outside, and inside's pretty cool. It's very rustic. As you can see, no insulation, just wood, kitchen, couple of stoves to keep some heat in here. Got a little card table, a little liquor storage cabinet there, and we have some bedding. It looks like there's room for probably 8-10 people in here. So we're leaving the cabin now. As you can see, they built just a plywood walkway. There's just a small damp area here. Seasonally wet. We just got a lot of rain, so you can see there's a little bit of water on it, but you can usually walk across this in knee boots and access most of this farm in knee boots without any problem. So come along, we're gonna go get into the oak ridges. As you can see here, we've made it out into our oak flat. This is a big flat piece of high ground. It's 3-4 feet higher than the surrounding area. As you can see, it's all willow and black brush around us. And inside we have these gigantic oaks. They're all over the place. There's so many of them. They're absolutely gorgeous. But more importantly, brings the deer in on a property like this, where you got not a ton of food in the area. There is adjacent ag, but these oak trees are your bread and butter to keeping big deer in here. So we're in the west central portion of the property. As you can see, we are loaded up with oaks. There is a trail system back here. The boundary line runs right through here, and everything this way is all oak all the way out, and then it's lined with some lowland area that is just alder, witch hazel, a little bit of black willow and some popple trees. So it's incredible in here. I think that a lot of people didn't realize how amazing it was from the winter pictures we took. So really get a good feel. There's a lot of deer stands in here. You'll see a lot of stands up on these oak flats, and that's how they hunted this traditionally over the years, was get on these oak flats and just catch the deer coming to feed. These are big woods deer. They feed on acorns, they feed on browse. As you can see, there's a lot of low browse for the deer to eat, plenty of ferns and seasonal grasses, things like that. So I'm just showing you that this is an incredible property and at an absolutely incredible value. All right, guys, here we are. We are back. We are back at the very west edge of the property. There's a stand here, and you can see the black brush and the heavy bedding cover is starting to close in, and there's a deer trail coming out right there. This stand location is fantastic at the edge of this hill. See where it's forcing the deer around on this trail here? And you can see where they're coming out of that long grass, that bedding grass there. There's islands within that wetland. There's islands. They're probably only 100 yards by 20 yards wide, but they're all over in that wetland back there, and those deer living up in there. You can never get to them without making noise. So what a great location, and lots of stands on this property. There's probably 40 stands on this property. So they've done a good job of getting stands in good places. The hardest decision is where to sit. So we've crossed into, we're kind of walking our southern line, if you will, and we've crossed into the eastern 80. And as you can tell, you'll see the creek in here, and then we cross the creek and we get up onto another one of these oak islands right here. And you can see we got some fantastic regen of the oak species that are in here, swamp oak, lots of good browse underside, and some trails throughout. So this is where it really gets good. We're gonna get into some adjacent destination food, some food plots, a little bit bigger trail system, and the property gets a little bit nicer on this side. So stay tuned, and we'll go find some more stuff. We're about central part of the eastern 80, if you will, and we've gone through a small wetland, just a small area, more than 100, 125 yards, easily walked with knee boots. And now we're up onto another ridge, and this ridge extends continually out to the east, and we'll eventually meet up with some destination food that the neighbors have tilled in, and then a food plot here. So we're kind of nearing the end of it. As you can see, there's a lot more upland ground than what it looks like in the aerial photograph. But again, you'll see some deer stands in here. But as you come out of these wetland areas, you can just see these trails are beaten in. They're browsed off, and it's definitely a longevity type thing for the deer. So they're here, and this is where they live. So appreciate you guys tagging along with us today and taking a look at this property, and hope you enjoy it. As you can see here, we are in kind of the gem of the eastern part of this property. There is all kinds of hard maple, oak, basswood, big popple in here. But more importantly, they've got a nice alleyway in here that's set up for some food plot. We got some apple trees, things like that. As much as there's the wetland, and as much as the grasses and things like that are in here, there's these high points that are just keeping this property as diverse as anything. And it's really going to allow you to come in here and hunt different places, different winds. If you're a trapper, you're gonna be able to get into all these spots and trap these edges. There's probably, if we counted edges in mileage, there's probably 5 or so miles of edge within this forest. And you got some tamarack, some pine, you got some popple and these big long runs, and inside of it's all some black willow. And I think that's what makes this piece so great. And it's different than what a lot of people who grew up hunting. Personally, growing up hunting in this type of timber, it makes perfectly good sense to me. But I can tell people who have hunted field edges or big wide open timber, it's a little bit scary for them. But I assure you, these types of properties this is a value-driven property. You're talking about under $3,500 an acre in Shawano County, and that is just absolutely unheard of. And it has a building on it and its own private road coming into it. So there's a lot of things about this property, I think, that from face value you're missing. And these are the pieces you got to get out and walk. There's more just beyond that little wetland. We've crossed some creeks and some drainage ditches that have been in here since probably the 1950s or 60s. And it's just completely built around whitetail deer hunting. The guy who bought this, he bought it in the late 50s, and he's just groomed this property to be an amazing whitetail deer property. So if you're looking for a really value-driven piece with a ton of diversity, want to teach kids to hunt and shoot and really understand wildlife, stewardship of the land, this isn't MFL, so it's going to need to be managed. And I think this is a great property for all of the above. All right, we're out in the eastern part of this property. We've come to the dead end road, and you can see there's some old logging roads and things that take off from here, but we got still what is an active scrape. I'm guessing some deer are just socializing and keeping that scrape active. Chewed on, broken off. It's perfect, it's big, it's away, it's out in the open like that. It's dug in, so it's been doing this for a long time. That thing's dug in 3-4 inches. That'll do it for our tour today. I hope you enjoyed this 156 acre tour. It's a very different program than what we would normally run. Again, if you got any questions on something you've seen, we hopefully would give you a good rundown of it. It's a big property. We've probably really only covered what you've seen is probably 80 or 90 acres of the 156 acres. If you want to come out and take a look, give me a call personally, Jeremy at Whitetail Dreams, or visit us at whitetaildreams.com, check out the video, and we'll take you through an entire tour.